Okay, so hola. I am going to hopefully get through this a second time. I noticed that there was a mistake I made on the slides. The first go around, I want to make sure that I gave you good information. Okay. First off, if you hear some background noise, I'm recording this in the hallway at the Taekwondo studio, so there's no way there's not going to be any background noise. So be it. It is what it is. Okay. But we are going to talk today about que has hecho, el presente perfecto, or the present perfect tense. And this is actually a tense we use all the time in English as well. We just don't think about it all that often. Okay. So what we need to know is first off, que es el presente perfecto. We use it to talk about what people have done. So se usa para hablar de lo que las personas han hecho, have done. Okay? So it's a compound tense, which means that, like we do in English, like we'd say, I have read, or you have completed the homework, or we have asked to play a game. Those are all examples of the present perfect. So you have your helping verb, which is that I have, or he has, or we have, or they have. In Spanish, it's haber, plus the present participle of a second verb, past participle, of a second verb, participio pasado del segundo verbo. And the past participle is the equivalent, of course, of an ed form in English. I'll give you some examples in a minute of irregular past participles. Okay. But you also need to be aware that haber you've used before. In the forms I, there is, or in hubo or había, there was or there were. And so this is one of the few other uses of the very irregular verb haber. Okay? Before we proceed with the conjugations of the helping verb haber, you should be aware that we actually do have a lot of irregular past participles in English, and this is something you're only going to hear in the video. So if you're not listening, you're going to get confused where you are, and I'm going to say you have to go back and listen. So keep that in mind. So, for example, in the box in the middle of the page, if we wanted to say, use the verb to be, for example, in a sentence using the present perfect in English, we would say, I have been. So, been is that past participle. If we wanted to say the verb to choose in a past participle, we would say, you have chosen. Chosen being the past participle. For to eat, it would be eaten. So, he has eaten. Eaten being the past participle. For to go, it would be gone. We have gone to the movies, gone being the past participle. For to steal, it would be stolen. So you all have stolen. Absolutely nothing, of course, but you all have stolen nothing. Stolen being the past participle. And then for write, we have written. And let's say they have written many essays, written being the irregular past participle. So those are all irregular past participles in English. There are several more. Yes, you'll get some at the end of this video, and you will have to write them down. Para seguir, let's continue. Vamos a conjugar el verbo muy irregular, haber, en el presente. And be aware that these forms are only used to make the present perfect tense. I'll reiterate that at the end. But to say I have, we have a. You have informal is as. He or she has, or you have formal is a. We have is amos. You all have a base. And they have, or you all have is an. And once again, be aware this verb, these conjugations of this verb haber, is only used to make the present perfect tense. It has no other use in Spanish. So please remember, it does not replace tener to say, I have a book, or we have a lot of homework in any way, shape, or form. And so if that's something that you may need to continuously remind yourself of, I would advise writing in capital letters, highlighting it, doing something to draw your attention to one of the main rules for the use of this verb. Now we're going to move on to página 2 en los participios pasados regulares, or regular past participles. And the rules for forming them overall are relatively straightforward. So para los verbos AR, van a quitar la AR, so let's get rid of the AR. Y van a añadir las letras ADO, ADO, so you add ADO. So por ejemplo, for the verb aceptar, to say accepted, it would be aceptado. For chocar, to say crashed, it would be chocado. Causar, to say caused, would be causado. Dar, to say given, would be dado. And entrevistar, to say interviewed, would be entrevistado. Moving on to ER and IR verbs, which are quite similar in their formation. You follow the same basic rule. van a quitar la ER o IR y van a añadir ido. Okay? So, por ejemplo, we have for destruir, destroyed, destruido. For ir, gone, ido. For happened or occurred, we have suceder, which is sucedido. And for heard, oír, we have oído. Ahora, vas a pausar el video, ¿ok? Y vas a completar números 1 a 5 en las páginas 2 y 3. When you're ready, move on to the final slide. So, we do have here several irregular verbs, and so I'm really hoping that I have covered all of them. I actually do not see imprimir. If there's something I do not cover here, please skip it in the notes, and I will make sure to get to it at another time. Okay, if there's something that I do miss. Hopefully I have everything. Okay, so for decir, the irregular past participle is dicho, said. Hacer, irregular past participle, hecho, made or done. Abrir, abierto, y significa opened. Cubrir, cubierto is your irregular past participle, and it means covered. Descubrir, descubierto, irregular past participle, means discovered. For escribir, we have escrito, which means written. For describir, we have descrito, which means described. For ver, we have visto, which is seen. For poner, we have puesto, put or placed. Componer is compuesto, so that means either composed or made up of. For morir, we have muerto, which is died. For romper, we have roto, which is broken. For imprimir, we have impreso, which is printed. For volver, vuelto, which is returned. And that's like if a person has returned. For example, so and so has returned from the bathroom. For devolver, it would be devuelto, and that's to return an item. So, for example, you returned the pen that you borrowed. Okay, so volver talks about people and animals, devolver talks about returning items. So, ahora que ya has terminado, now that you've returned, okay, completa números 1 a 5 en la página 4, and you'll review all of this in class next time we see each other. Ciao.